What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Martin, and today I am taking a look at this Mercedes-AMG SL63. Now, it's been 70 years since the first SL came out. I am really excited to test drive this one. Now, a lot of you thought this is the successor to the AMG GT, and I do have to agree, it really looks like one, doesn't it? But it's like dialed down a bit more towards an SL. But it certainly doesn't look like the SL of the previous generation, because that one was a big boat for, how should I describe this? Oversized men with sweaty golden necklaces and their wives from Eastern Europe. I think that's how I would describe the average SL63 owner of the previous gen. Now, it's going to be totally different for this gen because it's a totally different car. It really goes back to the first SL that was released 70 years ago, 1952, and back then it was a true sports car. It even won Le Mans and it won first and second place. So yeah, my generation thinks of the SL as a bit of an antisocial boat with this metal folding roof and a big V8 or even a V12, but it's actually a fun sports car, and that is exactly what they aim for with the new SL63. Now, there's also a 43 and a 55, but I'll tell you more about that later. Let's first go over to the wheel, because there's two things here that are totally wrong. Maybe even three. First of all, fake center lock wheels. They keep doing this over at AMG. I mean, I've never heard anyone say, wow, I really like those fake center locks. No, because nobody likes them. Okay, let's forget about that little detail. We have steel brakes. Also not that great news, because this is the 63, which does 315 top speed. And it's heavy. And it's steel. And I went on the Autobahn, and yeah, not a great combination, I can tell you. Little spoiler alert, because we are going to the Autobahn with this car and see if you can reach that top speed of 315, but I think there should be ceramics on the 63 as standard, maybe. We also have, compared to the SL55, a 10mm lower suspension. That is going to be a bit firmer. We also have dual wishbones in the front. That's totally new for the SL or even the AMG GT, so it should be more comfortable. You know, Porsche did that with the 992 GT3, and it was quite a comfortable car for a track focused car, but I'll talk about that later on. So it's a V8 bi-turbo. Thank God it is. Thank you, AMG, for doing this in this time and day. And we have a 4MATIC Plus system, so that's the first time you can get four-wheel drive on an SL. So combined with the V8, that should make for a quick car off the line, which the AMG GT really wasn't. So we have this premium pack, which gives us darkened tail light units and darkened headlight units, the smoked exhausts, which actually really sound good. I really didn't expect it after driving the 22 E63, which sounds like nothing. But this, once again, sounds like a true V8. Good job by AMG. What's also nice is this rear spoiler, which is really flush. You don't really see it when it's not retracted. That really does look good. What I also really like is what they did with the model name. So it's not SL63S and 63. No, it's 55 and 63. I think that's a lot better. Now, of course, the SL55 is a bit of a legend with that 5.4 liter V8 compressor. Thank you. But let's have a look at what this has to offer underneath the bonnet. Now, look at that bonnet. It's really like inwards, you know. It's not that far to the front. It's There goes my notes. Really tucked in, and it really makes the wheel arches even wider than they actually are. Give it a really wide appearance. I really like that. That's a clever little bit of designing from AMG. This is a bespoke AMG vehicle. Let me walk you through the engines. We have an SL63 AMG, which is a 4-cylinder. The M139 engine, the 2-liter turbo you find in an A45, not the A45S. So it makes 381 horsepower and 480 Newton meters of torque. It's also connected to a 9G Tronic gearbox by Mercedes. It's 1710 kilos. It has these rounded exhaust, which is how you can recognize a 43, and it's got rear-wheel drive instead of 4-wheel drive. So big difference. And I think the weight difference in the front with the 4-cylinder, 160 kilos lighter than this 63. Yeah, that's going to be quite noticeable when you go on a nice and twisty road. So I think the 43 might actually be quite nice when I look at the specs. So the 43 goes 0 to 100 4.9 seconds. Then we have the 55 AMG. Now that's a big step up. That's from a 2-liter 4-cylinder to the 4-liter V8 bi-turbo, which is really similar to this one. It's the M176, 476 horsepower, 700 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 3.9 seconds, and a top speed of 295 kilometers an hour. By the way, the 43 goes 275. Now, if you want even more power and torque, you want this. The 63, 585 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100, 3.6 seconds, and a top speed, I could not believe it, of 315 kilometers an hour, which is very impressive. Now, she is a bit of a heavy gal, 1870 kilos, so there is a lot of weight that has to feel sporty and nimble and direct. So they did a lot of electronics and stuff like that to make it feel like that, and they partly succeeded. So let's go and check that out. These are the darkened headlight units, by the way. So the SL has an all new platform. Now the 63 gets an electronically operated rear differential, and the 55 gets a mechanical unit. And as I said, the 63 has a more dynamic oriented suspension setup. They say that it's both really comfortable and really dynamic at the same time. Now, these things you can get as an upgrade with the 55, but I think the 55 is more like touring oriented, more towards the SL, and the 63 is a bit of a AMG GT successor. So you also see that, because you can get the touring version, which is a bit more chrome and a bit more friendly to see, just silver alloys, and you have this with the more aggressive wheels and the black stuff. They just want their old SL customers and their old AMG GT customers to fall in love with this car, which is quite easy because honestly it's gorgeous. So another update is the key. It finally looks like a very premium and nice heavy key instead of 17-year-old A-Class, which you got with an AMG GT. Now, this is the 63, so that's 585 horsepower. So that would make it equal to the AMG GTC. And even though they might look the same, and on paper they have the same engine and the same power, they are really different. And that's because of the 4-wheel drive system. That's really different. And we also have 4-wheel steering, but you also got that on the AMG GTC and the AMG GTR. But the biggest change, I think, is the gearbox. We now have the 9G Tronic gearbox, and with the AMG GTs we got a dual clutch gear track unit, which was super aggressive and nice and responsive. This is not. It is nicer if you just want to have a relaxing drive, or if you want to drive it on torque, you know, at like 50%. But if you really push it, this gearbox really is a lot less. So let's give it a try. Sunny evening here in Germany. Let's head over to the Autobahn. Oh, ho, ho. Now that sound, it's still there, guys, and I even think it sounds a bit better than the last AMG GT, which got this OPF update and the sound was just a lot less. Okay, let's just go into race mode, which you get with a 63, again optional with the 55. Now, launching an AMG GT was just impossible because it just could not cope with the power on just the rear axle, but now we have four-wheel drive. Now, that's 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds claimed, but it's faster than that. I did a 3.45, which is super impressive and really fast. Now have a look at the interior. I didn't even bring up the interior because that's like the big news. The AMG GT was a very uncomfortable car, not just because of the suspension, but because of the interior. It was really cramped and the seats were really bad. You could get the stock seats, the normal seats, which were super uncomfortable, or you could get the AMG performance seats, which were even more uncomfortable. That's nearly impossible, but they managed to achieve that. These new SL AMG seats are superb. They are comfortable, supportive, they are everything. You can still get the stupid AMG performance seats, but you really should not get those. Okay, let's go into manual mode. That's just too damn slow for downshifting. This 9G Tronic, it is okay on the upshift. Also not the quickest. There are far quicker units out there, but on the downshift it's just laggy. Not really all that nice. The gearbox is a lot better if you just put it into drive and not use the manual mode. It then really uses that massive torque. Oh, that is so nice. You also get these turbo whistles, an awesome sound again. Now we have this screen which I put into the most aggressive mode, so really like towards me, which I really like. You can also tilt it if the sun hits it in the wrong angle, and that's really cool. That's when you notice this is a true roadster convertible, even with 2 extra seats with ISOFIX, so that's really handy when you have small children. That's also a new thing for the SL. And let me show you what the thing looks like with the roof closed, because you can do that like this, which is a bit weird, holding a touch screen while sliding it. But it's only 15 seconds that you have to do that. And I just quickly want to show you what it looks like with the new cloth roof, because that's a lot more friendly than the hard top we got with the old SL. Now that is a striking looking car. Listen to that. Even with the roof closed, they really nailed the design of the car, I think. That's just gorgeous. I like how they thought, okay, let's just get the AMG GT and make it a bit more of a 911, you know, a bit more comfortable, a bit more approachable. Daily usability was a big thing while developing this car. I mean, the interior is so much more a nice place to be, you know. It's really nice, and the old AMG GT was a bit of a torture chamber, if you ask me. Okay, enough with the talking, and you've seen it with the roof closed. Now let's just gun it. I am going to use manual mode because race driver. Now the steering, it is quite sensitive and borderline nervous. But in a good way, in a good way. It is not nervous. It reminds me a bit of our Ferrari F12, only not as exaggerated, you know. That is just comically direct, and you know, it's fun because it's a Ferrari and you feel like an F1 driver. But with the SL, there is just this nice smoothness to the steering, and I really like that. Pretty perfect, I would say. I also like this big fat steering wheel with 18 buttons on here. Just these stalks, 18 of them. That's insane. And this AMG porn with the configurable buttons, and I really like that. Yeah, AMG is the king of theater. They just know how to really excite their drivers, and yeah, that's just what you want in an AMG. Let's put the transmission back into drive. We are in race mode, and let's see if we can hit that speed, top speed of 315. It is quite hard to do. I already tried. Now, if you give it the full beans, the shift at the red line isn't that nice. It's a bit clunky. Wow, that is a nice sight. But the engine is so strong, that torque, you feel it all the time. That's 311. Yeah, we can go. Come on. It is such a quick car. Wow, that is impressive. Just keep going. 327, 28. That's it. 328 in a Mercedes SL. Wow, what an impressive car. Now this on the Autobahn is where it's way better than the outgoing AMG GT. All of them, even the GTR, because the Gertrack gearbox was really short ratios, and this is a lot longer and more, yeah, directed towards delivering all that torque in one gear, in one smooth and long pull, building up to that 585 horsepower. That is really cool. And the AMG GT really had trouble passing 300 kph. Well, this clearly doesn't. So 100 to 200, 7.7 seconds. That's really quick. On the quarter mile, it's also really quick, a low 11, really impressive. But as I said, if you do this often, you really need the ceramic brakes, because I just earlier on, when it was a bit more crowded on the Autobahn, I had to stop a few times because of the traffic, and I could really feel the brakes vibrating and fading, and it wasn't really all that nice. They didn't feel confident, you know. The performance drop was quite dramatic when they got hot. So if your AMG SL is going to be a cruiser, just get the steel ones. Don't spend that, what is it, 10,000 euros on the ceramics. But if you do stuff like this, get the ceramics. Okay, let's do a torque pull. I always like doing that, and this gearbox also likes doing that. So we're going into manual mode, 6th gear, from 100 kph. Here we go, full throttle. Here we already go. Wow, it just picks up. That is unbelievable. What is this thing capable of? My GoPro stopped, so you're now just watching the speedometer. That is one full gear of SL63. Oh my god, this stupid GoPro. Unbelievable. What a stupid device. Let's do it like this. Alright guys, this is a bit of a weird ending for me too. The new SL63, it's the sweet spot between the AMG GT and the SL. AMG have really done an incredible job. They do need to check the suspension because at times it is so hard. You just fully hit the bump stops on a bumpy and not very smooth road, which there are a lot of, and this being partly a cruiser, it should be able to do that, but it really isn't capable of doing that. So yeah, go check that out, Mercedes, for the facelift. Other than that, it's a brilliant car. Really like it. It's my favorite AMG of the moment. I really like it the best. Thanks for watching. Go subscribe to the channel. What is it right there? Check out this video or this playlist. I think it's something like that. Bye guys.